Hello and welcome to a brand new day of free-to-play here on Magic the Gathering Arena. Get the dish on the latest with me, Lord Rumfish, and today I think I've actually got the latest for you. March of the Machine: The Aftermath has come out early. Surprise! I think that's what my email said actually, is surprise. I don't know if this is a technical glitch or what's going on here, but it's out. It's here. It's in the store. So if you check your mail, you'll see that the 3 free packs aren't coming till the 11th. You can get, I think, 2,000 free experience, is what this message did for me. That's cool. And it's here. It's here in the store. It's here in front of me. So let's take a look around at what all has dropped. So if we look over at the Featured tab, there's a couple of packs here. Let's see. So we've got the Aftermath Unsparked. It's got some card styles. Aftermath Unbroken's got some card styles. Aftermath Journey's End has some card styles. And I don't know that any of the rest of the stuff here is new other than the packs. Let's take a real quick look at the play queues. I don't think there's any special events that have anything to do with the Aftermath because it's not made for limited. Let's see. Explorer, Historic Brawl, March of the Machine. Premier Draft, the Aftermath. The Aftermath? I didn't think there was going to be an Aftermath draft. What the heck is that? Let's see. Sealed, March of the Machine. Okay. Alright. So what is this thing? What is this? Rotating draft packs, automatically added to your collection. Let's see, it says the Aftermath. I don't know. I don't know what this means. What are these boosters? What are these limited boosters? Gosh, I don't know, I guess this is the way to find out. Use some gems. Let's hop in here. Okay, so it says Aftermath on these booster packs. Is there anything different? This is different. This is a new card. Campus Renovation. So it looks like maybe they've changed out one slot to be these new Aftermath cards. That's interesting. Okay, I'm doing this for science, so I'm just going to do a rear draft here. Okay. So yeah, here's Cosmic Rebirth. This is from the new set. It's got the new set on it. So it looks like one slot in the booster pack's been replaced with a Aftermath card. So yeah, I don't remember reading anything about this. I don't remember seeing any details about Aftermath being in any kind of play format. Okay, blot out. Yeah, this is a Aftermath card here. I know all of the cards in Aftermath are either uncommons or rares. So I don't think you're going to see anything at the common slot. Now it looks like there's just one slot per booster, maybe, that's just been replaced with an Aftermath card. And that's cool. Okay. Invasion of Arcavios. Yeah, I don't actually want to sit down and play this draft right now. I want to open up booster packs. And look at this new set and tell you about the new cards and what can be seen here. So this is strictly for science. So if you get into this play queue and sit down and do this draft, it looks like 1 card per booster pack, perhaps, has been replaced. Which is a little bit of spice. It's a little bit of spice in your mom draft. So let's take a look at some of these. This one's Cosmic Rebirth. You can choose a permanent in your graveyard. If it's mana value 3 or less, it goes right to the battlefield. Otherwise, you regrow it back to your hand, and you gain 3 life. It's an instant. This seems playable in Limited. Not sure about Constructed. Yeah, let's see. I don't see any Aftermath cards in this booster, so I'll go ahead and take Kihira. So yeah, Cosmic Rebirth. I mean, I like it. The life gain could actually make it relevant for Constructed play. So we'll see. Blot Out. Opponent exiles a creature or planeswalker they control with the greatest mana value. Unless everything they have is a token, you're probably going to get a pretty high value target. The only thing to watch out for with this card is that I think they get to choose between a creature or a planeswalker. Okay, Death Rattle Oni, that's a new card. We'll go ahead and take it. Can be reading about it here. So Death Rattle Oni is a 5/4 for 7. It's got Flash. It costs 2 less to cast for each creature that died this turn. Your creatures and the opponent's creatures. Either way. So this could go all the way down to 1 mana if 3 creatures have died. When it ETBs, destroy all other creatures that were dealt damage this turn. And that could be interesting with red board sweepers. Even little red board sweepers. I think it could have some play. Okay, don't see an Aftermath card here. We'll take the Storm Sculptor. We're going maximum value here. Invasion of Xerix. Yep, Mutagen Connoisseur. And just start taking some good cards here. Sanctifier or Sunder? Am I even going to play this draft? Okay, I'll take a Sanctifier here. Let's see. I guess I don't have a playset of Arachnoid Adaptation yet. Storm Sculptor. Let's see. Hanger Scrounger's not bad. Not great, but it's not bad. Alright, take the Analyst. Take a Forest. Okay, Sunfall. There's another campus renovation. I'm not going to pass up a Sunfall, frankly, but let's read the campus renovation here. So, red, white, and 3. It's a sorcery, uncommon. Return up to 1 target artifact or enchantment from graveyard to battlefield. Exile the top 2 cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You can play those cards. So this reanimates an artifact or enchantment, plus it gives you Rin's Resolve, or, you know, I forget the name of it just now, but I'll go ahead and take the Sunfall here. Ooh. If I was going to play this draft, Grimgrin is a fantastic card. I just did a draft here recently where Grimgrin got me 7 wins. Danitha, though. This is a rare. Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink. Once during each of your turns, cast an aura or equipment spell from your graveyard. Well, this one's probably not going to see all the play in the world or anything. I'm going to go ahead and take it, though. Okay. Looks like the Aftermath card's been taken out of this booster. I'll go ahead and take the Hoarding Broodlord here. Sarkhan, Soul of Flame, Mythic. Blue and red, colorless, 2/4. Legendary Human Shaman. Dragon spells cost 1 less, and when a dragon ETBs, Sarkhan can become a copy of it. He retains his name and his legendary status. It's until end of turn. So he can become a copy of a legendary dragon, and not legend rule. So that's cool. Yeah, I'll go ahead and take him here. Let's see. Vat Keeper or Corruption of Tawashi? I mean, they're both fantastic cards. Guess I'll take the Vat Keeper. Okay. I'll take a Seraph. Okay, Glistening Deluge. Yeah, this is... I'm not trying to play this draft again. I just want to get through here. I don't have as many copies of Wicked Slumber. Do this for science, show you what's happening here. Okay, take a Surge of Salvation. Invasion of Rin? That's actually pretty late for an Invasion of Rin. Invasion of New Capenna. Take an Archivist. I like that card more than most people do. Rouse Reinforcements seems pretty good. Marauding Dreadship's actually a dangerous card. Mountain. Alright, what do we got? Animist's Might. So, uncommon, green and 2 colorless, sorcery. Costs 2 less to cast if it targets a legendary creature you control. So, target creature you control deals damage equal to twice its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. So this is an interesting fight spell. It's pricey unless your critter is legendary, and that's not too difficult of a condition to fill. The sorcery speed part hurts, but 1 mana would probably make it worth playing. Anyway, I'll go ahead and take the Archpriest here. Drannith Ruins. Rare land, taps for a colorless, pay 2 and tap, put 2 +1/+1 counters on target non-human creature that entered the battlefield this turn. I haven't seen many people very excited about this land yet. I think if ramp decks get to be a thing, then Drannith Ruins could be very, very dangerous. This could also be great in a tokens deck. Okay, I don't think I see an Aftermath card in this pack. We'll go ahead and take SRAM. Kaladesh, repurposing, Guardian, Smite, and Gigantha. We'll take Gigantha. Yeah, so no Aftermath card here. Take Invasion of Dominaria. Here we go. Undercity Upheaval. Green, 1, uncommon, sorcery. Undergrowth. Distribute X +1/+1 counters among any number of target creatures you control, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard as you cast the spell. And your creatures gain Vigilance until end of turn. So it's a mass Vigilance at sorcery speed. It's also potentially some +1 counters. Might be good in the right archetype. Botanical Brawler, go ahead and take it. Valduk. Let's see. Invasion of Dominaria or Captive Weird. They're both really good cards. I'll take the Captive Weird. Okay, Censor. I don't have as many of those. Marshal of Zalfir, this late? I mean, in a vacuum, Sculpted Perfection is maybe the better card. If you don't have a night deck. Well, I mean, Am I really trying to build a deck here? I'll just take the Beat Stick. Aeronaut. Intercessor? That late of a pick? That's ridiculous. Okay, so here we are at the Aftermath booster packs. Now, I'm not quite sure what to expect here. I don't know if I get golden pack progress. Oh, hang on, let's read the fine print. Purchase 7 more March of the Machine, the Aftermath, and March of the Machine packs to earn a golden pack. Okay, so yes, the Aftermath does progress the golden pack progress. Let's go ahead and drop some money here and show you some new cards. So yeah, golden pack, there we go. Got Joel Rail, Voice of Zolfir, which, you know, maybe she's meant to be a commander card, but I think it's not impossible you could find constructed application for her. Just the little tiniest bit of protection, and that bird token could get very, very annoying. Could start drawing you a lot of cards. Alright, Aftermath boosters, here we go. So it looks like there's actually some commons they've filled in from March of the Machine. That's interesting. I was wondering if they were going to do a 5-card booster in the store, but they're not. So there's 1, 2, 3 commons that are from March of the Machine. There's a common wild card. Maybe that's also March of the Machine, since it's a common wild card. We'll see. Undercity Upheaval, Cosmic Rebirth, Iora's Oathsworn, 2/2 Menace, black and 1, rare, Human Knight. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, if it has fewer than 4 +1 counters on it, put a counter on it. Then if it has exactly 4 counters on it, so hits the other player, gets a counter if it has fewer than 4. But then, separate from that, like it could already have 4 counters on it, it wouldn't get a counter, but then, if it has exactly 4 on it, search your library for a card, put it in your hand, then shuffle. This is neat. It's a neat card. 2/2 Menace that grows with counters is actually fairly threatening. Okay, and this is Multiverse Legend here. I'm not sure what they're doing with these packs, to be honest. Maybe they'll give an article at some point to update us on what's going on here. Next pack. Let's see. The art on here, is that Nissa? I guess that's Nissa. Maybe. Looks like they're doing some water shaping or something. Anyway. Okay. So yeah, again we got... Okay, there's 4 commons from March of the Machine. There's a Campus Renovation, Cosmic Rebirth, there's Jury, and Vesuvan Drifter. 2/4 flyer for 3, which is not a bad body, pretty good blocker. Rare Shapeshifter. You can look at the top card of your library at any time. At the beginning of combat, you may reveal the top card of your library. If you reveal a creature card this way, this becomes a copy of that card until end of turn, except it has flying. Does not work well with ETB triggers. Works very well with things that have bad ETB triggers, where you don't want their ATB trigger. Overall, interesting card. Decent enough block of stats that it could see play. Alright. Yep, 4 commons, 1 Multiverse Legend, Cosmic Rebirth, Tolarian Contempt, Enchantment, Uncommon, 2 blue, 3 colorless. When ETBs, put a rejection counter on each creature your opponents control, beginning of your end step, so same turn you cast it. For each opponent, choose up to 1 target creature they control with a rejection counter on it. That creature's controller puts it on the top or bottom of their library. I would have liked this card so much better if it didn't target. I was prepared to like this card, even though it looks very junky. But hexproof and protection creatures still can't be affected by it. They get a counter, but you can't target them. which I don't like. Okay, the Kinross Royal Funeral. This is kind of a weird one. Black 1 and 2, it's a rare legendary enchantment. When this ETBs, you exile up to 2 target legendary creature cards from your graveyard, so that's a big ask on setup here. You draw X cards, you lose X life, where X is the greatest mana value among cards exiled this way. So that ability only requires you to exile 1. Right, as long as you exile 1 thing, you'll draw X cards and lose X life for its mana value. Second ability, legendary spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each card exiled. So that ability wants you to exile 2. The first ability, where you draw and lose life, 1 creature would suffice. But even with just 1 creature under this, your legendary spells would get cheaper. I don't know that this actually makes it into the legendary deck. The legendary deck seems like it's already done most of what it wants to do by 4 or 5 mana. So, maybe. Maybe. I'm not too sure about this one. Alright. Commons, got another Blot Out. Multiverse Legend, Uncommon Wildcard. Mythic Wildcard, I'll take it. Okay. Filter out. Oh, 2 blue and 1 uncommon instant return all non-creature, non-land permanents to their owner's hands. This one looks nasty to me. I haven't seen a lot of people talking about this card yet. This returns battles to their owner's hands. Way back when Meathook Massacre was legal in Standard, I was starting to experiment with a deck where I was bouncing the Meathook Massacre back to my hand. Like I was using Psionic Snoop, whatever his name is, from Streets of New Capenna, to bounce the Meathook Massacre back to my hand. Filter Out can bounce Invasion of Fiora back to your hand. It could also bounce things like Invasion of Innistrad back to your hand, which just kills something when it ETBs. Or also in black, you've got Invasion of Olgrotha, and that one can go face. Or it can flip your other battles. Filter Out could bounce all those back to your hand. You could get all the ETB triggers all over again. Plus, you just set the opponent back. I think this card is much better than it looks. Alright, got Desparked Narset, Enlightened Exile. So, 1 blue, red, white. 3/4. Mythic. Legendary Human Monk. Creatures you control have prowess. Nice boost. I mean, you have to be able to trigger it, but it's a nice boost. Whenever she attacks, you exile a non-creature, non-land card, mana value less than her power from a graveyard. A graveyard. Could be the opponent's graveyard too. And copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. Okay. Mana value less than her power. So, if you don't boost her up with prowess, which she gives herself prowess, she'd get something mana value 2 or less, which is a pretty good assortment. And it's yours or the opponent's graveyard, either one. And then, of course, when you cast it without paying its mana cost, you're going to trigger prowess, which is going to make all of your creatures bigger. So, Narset is kind of like a go big prowess payoff, where instead of trying to win the game sooner with prowess, with a real low to the ground start, you kind of go a little more mid-range, do a little bit more setup. Gets you more value in the process. I don't know if this Narset sees play or not, but she's interesting. Yep, 4 commons, Multiverse Legend, Cosmic Rebirth, Feast of the Victorious Dead, white and a black, uncommon enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if 1 or more creatures died this turn, you gain that much life, distribute that many +1/+1 counters among creatures you control. So it's equal to the number of creatures that died. Could be interesting for a life gain deck. Could be interesting for a +1 counter deck. I mean, I don't quite see where it fits in exactly yet, but it's an interesting tool, no doubt. Arnie Metalbrow. He's got another horn in his head. There you go. It's a 3/3 for 3. Rare, legendary human berserker. Whenever a creature you control attacks. So, a creature, not him. Any creature. Whenever a creature you control attacks, or a creature enters the battlefield under your control attacking, you may pay 1 in a red. So you can do this for every attacking thing. If you do, you may put a creature card with mana value less than that creature's mana value from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. Okay, this is interesting. This is interesting. I'm not quite sure how it fits in, how it does what it's supposed to do. Maybe it's a commander. Like, maybe this is supposed to be a commander card, but you could certainly force a bunch of weird attackers out of your hand from out of nowhere. He doesn't have to be the one doing the attacking. Not too sure about Arnie. Well, Goldforge Thopteryx. White, blue, uncommon, 1/3, artifact creature dinosaur Thopter. Flying lifelink. Oh, pretty good blocker. Not the worst attacker. Each legendary permanent you control has Ward 2. Probably does go into the legend deck. Probably does. Maybe not 4 copies, but 1 copy of this is going to be a heck of a annoyance for anyone trying to do spot removal. Like, let's say you get a slow start and the opponent gets down, you know, Skrelv turn 1, then they get down the Thopteryx on turn 2, now they're protecting each other, and you didn't have removal immediately. That sounds terrible. Harnessed Snubhorn, 2/5, uncommon. White and 3 colorless. Dinosaur. Vigilance. Whenever this deals combat damage to a player, return target artifact or enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Well, this doesn't look that good. Not really. Rocco Street Chef. 2/4 for 3, not the worst stat line. Red, green, white. Legendary Elf Druid. Beginning of your end step, each player exiles the top card of their library. Until your next end step, each player may play the card they exiled this way. Now, unless you have an instant or a flash card, this means that your opponent is going to get a chance to play with their extra card first before you do, which I don't love. Whenever a player plays a land from exile or casts a spell from exile, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature and create a food token. So, if the opponent does not immediately kill your Rocco, and they use the card that he gives them, then you're going to get a counter on the opponent's turn and get a food token. And at the very least, if they don't kill your Rocco, he'll be a 3/5. Then on your turn, you get an extra card. Now you have a 4/6, and you have 2 food tokens. And this is not counting any other plays that anyone makes from exile, and there are plenty of ways to do that in Standard. You know, I think this card is better than it looks. I think this card's actually much stronger than it looks. Everyone hates it for the kind of Howling Mine aspect of it, where it gives the opponent something first. But I think Rocco's maybe being underestimated here. Alright, there's that Animus Might again. Another Arnie Metalbrow, alright. copy of Danitha, not too exciting. Another copy of Rocco. I am somewhat excited. I actually like this card. I'm looking forward to trying to build with Rocco. Like, imagine using like Rin's Resolve or something with Rocco. Right? It's whenever a player plays a land from exile or casts a spell from exile. It's not once per turn. So if you get down Rocco, and you play like Rin's Resolve, and you like play 3 things from exile in one turn, you get 3+1 counters and 3 food tokens, like right up front, straight away. Alright folks, I spent some golden gems to get another golden pack and keep going here. Okay, Jarina, Dauntless General. White-black, rare, 2/2 human soldier. When she ETBs, exile target player's graveyard. Not bad. Sacrifice her, humans you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. So, she's a white-black 2/2 legendary who could slot into humans or the Legends deck. And probably at least one copy of her will get tried out in some of those decks. I don't see why not. Humans in particular get a lot of benefit out of her. Soldiers, less certain of there. Soldiers, I don't think have black in the build at the moment. Okay, there's Lutri. There's another Dranith Ruins. Okay, Coppercoat Vanguard. So, white and a colorless, uncommon, 2/2, human soldier. Each other human you control gets +1/+0 and has ward 1. So, could be pretty good in the soldiers deck as long as you've got a good count of humans. Obviously good in the humans deck. Probably will get tested out. Probably will see some play, I would say. Metropolis Reformer. 2/3 Angel Cleric. White and 2 colorless, rare. Flying Vigilance. You have hexproof. So, no targeting you, the player, with a spell. Whenever Metropolis Reformer is dealt damage, you gain that much life. Could be interesting. Could be interesting. One of the most commonly played cards I can think of that might backfire with Metropolis Reformer is the little red sweeper that's 1 mana in the Festivities. So, if the red player just throws out an In the Festivities and it doesn't kill the Reformer, then you're netting 1 life, or if they have, you know, a mechanized warfare on the table, then you net 2 life, and you still have a blocker. And then if she is able to block, then she'll gain even more life for you when she's dealt damage. And if they just point a burn spell at this and burn it out of the way, you still gain life in that exchange too. Come to think of it, this is a heck of a annoyance for a red player. Also stops burn from going directly at your face. Interesting. Reckless Handling. There's Nahiri, looking a bit more cured from her Phyresis. Red and a colorless, uncommon sorcery. Search your library for an artifact, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle, then discard at random. If an artifact card was discarded this way, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. So, Red has gotten effects like this in the past, in Magic's history. You know, tutor up a card, do a random discard. Random discards are pretty harsh, pretty difficult. You can build a deck to play around them, take advantage of them. But I don't know that this card is good enough to actually put forth the effort to do so. I guess you could have an artifact deck where, whether it ends up in your hand or the graveyard, it still benefits you either way. And maybe it could find a home there. I really don't know, though. Rebuild the City, I love this one. Okay, so this is a black, a red, a green, 3 colorless. Rare sorcery. Choose target land. Create 3 tokens that are copies of it, except they're 3/3 creatures. In addition to their other types, they have Vigilance and Menace. I think this card's pretty cool. So, it ramps you by 3, but it also puts 9 power and toughness onto the board that has Vigilance and Menace. Whichever way you slice it, that's a pretty good deal for 6 mana. I think this is actually a pretty good card. It's interesting to me that there are cards that are making token lands now. So far it hasn't broken the game in half. Magic's had the ability to do it for a little while here. Right, there was, oh, that funky blue legend that whenever you targeted something, it would make a copy of it. I figured out that that could copy lands. So far, copying lands has not destroyed the game. But this is neat. There's also the green X spell, green, green, and X, that puts out dryads that are forests. And there are some landfall cards. There's the Kamigawa enchantment. It's a green and a colorless. You can channel it to make a big token guy. I forget the name of it just now. But you get a +1/+1 counter whenever a land enters the battlefield, I think. Could be interesting. Anyway, I like this card. Alright. Tolarian Contempt, Cosmic Rebirth, Nissa, Resurgent Animist. I'm a big fan of Nissa. I mean, not her very original incarnation, but soon after. So, green and 2, 3/3, Mythic, Legendary Elf Scout, Landfall. We're just talking about Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, add 1 mana of any color. Then, if this is the second time it's resolved, reveal from the top of your library until you reveal an elf or elemental. Could be another Nissa, could be something else. Put that card into your hand, the rest on the bottom in a random order. Nissa can ramp you mana. Always does that with your landfall. The second time the ability resolves also gets you a card. As long as you have an elf or elemental card left in your deck, she'll find it. Overall, as long as you can trigger landfall twice in a turn, I think Nissa's good. I think Nissa's quite good. I don't know if she's crazy good. That remains to be seen. But any green card that ramps your mana, fixes your mana, draws you cards, kind of hard to argue with. Obviously, she plays nicely with the card we just looked at, like Rebuild the City. Because this would trigger her second landfall ability. It would make 3 mana of any color. You'd find another elf or elemental. You'd get the land tokens. They would have Summoning Sickness, so they couldn't actually tap for mana because they're creatures. But still not a bad combination. Right, filter out, campus renovation. Ooh, Tranquil Frillback. This is one of the ones I was planning on talking about. in my deck building toolbox guide for this set. So 3/3 dinosaur for 3, that's the floor. That's like the, you didn't get to pay any of its multi-kicker here. But when it enters the battlefield, you may pay green up to 3 times. When you pay this cost 1 or more times, choose up to that many. So you can't choose the same one more than once. That's a shame, but... Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Yay. Definitely the best mode on this card. There are so many artifacts and enchantments to blow up. 4/4 for... 3/3 for 4 mana. Destroys an artifact or enchantment. I'm on board. I'm happy with it. You could also do other things. You could exile someone's graveyard, you could gain 4 life, or you could pay 5 to gain 4, blow up an artifact or enchantment, or exile a graveyard, or you could pay 6 and do all 3 of these things. A decent portion of the time you probably don't care about exiling a graveyard, so you probably don't care that much about hitting the 6 version of this card. It does take extra green pips. Right, so if you want to cast it for 5, and 5 is a very good mode, then you want to be able to hit 3 green. 3 green is quite a bit, but not that much for a green deck. Green decks are good at making mana. But it does mean that you can't just chalk it into a deck with no consideration. More rarely, I think, is, you'd actually play it for all 3 of the modes. For 4 green and 2 colorless, I don't think that'll be very common. It'll come up sometimes, though. Anyway, overall, this card's great. Lorwyn of the Third Path sees play all the time as a 2/1 for 3 that blows up an artifact or enchantment. This will be a 3/3 for 4 that blows up an artifact or enchantment. It has twice as much total power and toughness as Lorwyn does. Right? You add 1 to its power, add 2 to its toughness, now you got a 3/3. For 1 more mana. Now it doesn't have vigilance, it doesn't draw each player a card, but it could gain you 4 life or exile a graveyard, so it has good modes going on with it. And if you just had to, you could play it as a 3/3 for 3. If you absolutely had to, you could play it as a 3/3 for 3, and it has that mode available as well. I think this card's really good. Tyvar the Bellicose. Green, black, 2 colorless, mythic, legendary elf warrior, 5/4. That's a decent chunk of stats for the mana. Let's see what else he does. Whenever 1 or more elves you control attack, they gain Death Touch. He includes himself. Each creature you control has, whenever a mana ability of this creature resolves, put a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the amount of mana this creature produced. This ability triggers only once each turn. So he doesn't have a mana ability on his own. But any of your mana creatures, not just elves, just any mana creature, gets counters equal to the amount of mana the creature produced. This involves some weird corner cases too. Like, there's an artifact creature in Brothers War that you can pay 2 mana and it produces a mana of any color and does it once per turn. That's technically a mana ability. So filtering mana through that little guy would actually put +1 counters on him with Tyvar. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying mana abilities pop up in unexpected places. Surprise! I have another account. I'm gonna keep going. Alright, let's keep going. I'm over here on the main account now. You can tell by the number of rare and mythic wild cards. Hey, another copy of Joel Rail. Not too sad to see her. Yep, blot out, Vanguard. Ooh, Obnixilis. Captive Kingpin. Red, black, and 2, Mythic, 4/3, Legendary Demon. Flying and Trample. Whenever one or more opponents each lose exactly 1 life, put a +1/+1 counter on him. Exile the top card of your library until your next end step. You may play that card. Next end step is the harsh one. That's the one that's difficult to deal with. So this is triggered by Oni Called Anvil. You could also trigger it with Devils. You could trigger it with there's the little pinging guys in red. Like there's the one that's the Alchemist. You Thermo Alchemist can tap and ping something and then untap it when you cast a spell. Or the little 1/3 guy, Kessig something or other, when you cast non-creature spells, deals 1 damage to the opponent. You could build a deck. I don't know if it'd be a good deck, but you could build it. Alright, the Drifter. This is an interesting thought exercise for trying to build a deck. So what's the best thing you'd like to hit that you don't get the ETB trigger off of? It's kind of the question. Thopteryx, Snubhorn, Nahiri's Resolve. Red, white, 3, rare enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and have haste. Some effect on the board the turn you play it. Definitely a big impact for future creatures. Beginning of your end step, exile any number of non-token artifacts and or creatures you control. Return those to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of your next upkeep. Okay, so the way I see this working out is if the opponent can't pressure you enough, you play the Nahiri's Resolve. Maybe you Alpha Strike in that turn, maybe you don't. Exile everything. Non-token things. But you don't want to exile your tokens anyway. Then they all come back on your next upkeep, and if the Resolve is still here, they get +1/+0 and have haste. And they get all their ETB triggers again. As long as the opponent didn't kill you in their intervening turn, then you're doing really well. Now you don't have to take everything. You could leave behind some blockers, some other stuff, enough to keep you alive. This sets up like a giant Alpha Strike kind of turn. And then plus the turn everything comes back, you can play something out of your hand, it's going to have haste. The card's scary. It's scary for sure. It does ask a lot for you to be able to survive that turn. But man, it would be a crushing impact if you can come back and get all of that when it comes back in. I know this card looks like junk, but it could be really powerful. Okay, another copy of the Royal Funeral. Again, not too sure about this one. I mean, it could be okay just as a card draw spell. We'll see. Rebirth, Animus Might, and a Danitha. Right, Reckless Handling, Campus Renovation. Campus Renovation is a little bit odd to me. It does give you until the end of your next turn, but if you're playing a deck where you're reanimating things out of the graveyard, you might have like 8 and 9 mana plays and stuff in your deck, and you might not want to exile something off the top to cast it. Just saying. Ooh, Tranquil Frillback. Love it. Oh, hey, Training Grounds. This one's a reprint. Comes from a set that I enjoyed. Rise of the Eldrazi was a really fun limited format. So, 1 blue enchantment, it's a rare. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 colorless less to activate. It can't reduce the mana in that cost to less than 1 mana. This is a good card. This is a very powerful card. If you're not aware, it is. It will probably find a home in Standard. Okay, Kenrith's Royal Funeral. Oh, hey, Markov Baron. So 2/2 for 3, uncommon Vampire Noble, Convoke, so could certainly be less than 3 mana. Lifelink. Other vampires get +1/+1, so you got a Vampire Lord, and it could be on the cheap with the Convoke. Madness for 3. Now the Madness cost, let's see, Convoke, your creatures can help you cast this spell. Madness, when you discard it, discard and exile. When you do cast it for its Madness cost, cast it. Cast it. I think you can Convoke the Madness cost on this. If I'm reading this right, if I'm reading the reminder text rules on this card correctly, I believe you could Convoke the Madness cost on Markov Baron. So you could discard it, tap 3 creatures, and play this for free. Unless I am mistaken. This is actually pretty neat. Might maybe give vampires a way back into the format. Give them some teeth. Anyway. Ira's Oathsworn. Oh yeah. I actually kind of like this one. So, little creatures that don't gain value need to be good aggressive creatures, and this one is. So it has Menace, makes it likely to connect, very likely to connect with a little bit of removal backing it up. And once it's gained even a single counter, it's become kind of a headache for the opponent. It's big enough that it's like a real board impact. More than that, and it's a very serious problem. You're in. Cosmic Rebirth, another Markov Baron. Oh, Draenith Ruins. I do like this one. Campus Renovation, Cosmic Rebirth, Leyline Immersion. Green and 3, rare, enchantment aura. Enchant legendary creature. That's specific. Enchanted creature has Ward 2, and tap, add 5 mana in any combination of colors. Spend this mana only to cast spells, so that's not much of a restriction. Casting spells is usually what you want to do with your mana. Usually. So this would ramp you. You'd need a legend that was already in play and that didn't have Summoning Sickness. It would ramp you up a mana the turn you cast this. And it would ramp you a heck of a lot if you can untap that creature. Oh no. I just thought about putting this on Rona. The blue card? Then you can tap to discard... Sorry, draw a card and then discard a card, and when you play a legendary creature, you untap her. So what if you tapped her for mana? Let's just say. let's say you tap Arena for mana, like 5 mana, and then you play a legend and you untap her. That sounds stupid. That sounds really stupid. Whew. Blot out, Harness Snubhorn. Sommet, Vizier of Noctamen. Green, a red, and a colorless. Mythic, 2/3. Legendary Human Warrior Cleric. First strike, Vigilance, Haste. That's all a mouthful. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, if that creature entered the battlefield this turn, draw a card. So Sommet's like for a haste deck. I think it would be interesting to do a haste tribal deck. There was a card in Streets of New Capenna with the Riveteers that I think whenever a haste creature like damaged an opponent, you got like a treasure token. Something like that. It was like a 3/3 for 4, I believe. Had haste. Anyway, it could be interesting to do like a haste tribal deck where you just build around specifically having haste. This creature would not be very good without haste, but this many keywords plus haste, like being able to actually get in the turn that it comes down, and then your opponent has to spend a removal spell, it's pretty good. I think this could actually see some play. Yeah, filter out, Death Rattle Oni. Metropolis Reformer. Again, this seems like a real headache for a red deck. Might be decent in some other places too, could have some combo potential. We'll see. Alright, Markov Baron, Snubhorn. There's Nahiri's Resolve again. And a Grimgrin. Alright. Well, folks, this has been an experience. I did not know what to expect when they brought the set live onto Arena. I didn't know if we'd get 5-card booster packs. I didn't know if they would give us golden packs. Now we know something. They've got a limited format where they replace 1 card in each booster with an Aftermath card. The boosters are the normal size of the boosters you buy from the store. 4 commons are replaced by March of the Machine commons. Then there is a slot for a Multiverse Legend card. I'm not sure why they did that. I think I would have rather had more Aftermath cards, personally. I would rather have had more of those than the Multiverse Legends, but... And you do get golden packs. And if you buy the 10 boosters... If you buy the 10 boosters, then you get Joel Rail. You get the card and you get a card style. So there you have it. I'm reporting to you live on the release of Aftermath. If you've enjoyed my content, check out some of my other stuff, like this video, subscribe to my channel. You can even hit the notification bell, it really helps me out. And until next time, stay cool.